Hello, my friends. It is February 2nd, 2023, and we are here for Astro Chat and Chill. All right. So, just to get right into it today, first of all, I'm pretty low energy today. Not every day is the same for any of us, right? That is not how nature works. And yeah, so with that said, along with me being not in like normal, like Fani, high energy, I am also just, I have so many thoughts. It's like I don't even know where to begin today. So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your patience. Um, and yeah, we are going to talk about some shit today. So, I say all the time, like, I am not a doom and gloom astrologer. That is not the reason that I do this. I am not here to freak you out and, whatever, scare you into anything. That said, um, I had a moment last night where I just like I don't even okay. I'm just gonna have to show you. I don't know. This is one of those times where it's like, is this reality? Like, are we living in the Matrix? Like, if you were here yesterday or if you watched yesterday's replay, like, I feel very, like, I relate to Pamela Anderson in this moment where it's like, am I alive? Am I dead? Is any of this real? Like, what the fuck's going on? Because, like, Mama Capricorn, I'm very earthy, right? I'm a very, like, tangible, like, South Node in Virgo and everything. It's like it's natural for me to want things to be like, to have reason. Like, I want a reason for things. Like, why? Like, why is more important to me even than what? Um, that's actually really true. Why is much more important to me than what? But anyway, um, so astrology took me a long time. Right, like, it took me a long time. Like, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And like, something that I have taught, and if you're one of my students, if you're watching this and you're one of my students, maybe from my mastermind, or maybe we've worked together in different capacities, and specifically around probably like branding and sales. Like, if you have a tool like astrology, right? I have told you, like, do not market yourself on that. Hey, babe. Hey, Natalie. Nice to see you. I'll tell you, like, this is just the tool. Don't market yourself on that. Like, don't. And I know that a lot of what I'm doing right now goes against that. Like, I'm literally, like, this is what I'm doing. And it's because I do feel it's the best thing that I do. Like, it is the best part of, like, because it's not just what I do, it's everything. Anyway, I don't know. It took me a long time to come around to it as, like, not just being my scalpel, but being like, no, it's not even me. Like, that is the star of the show. Like, I'm just here to, like, be a translator. Like, that's more how I feel about astrology. Like, Mama Capricorn is like, I'm a cool side character, like, to the stars. That's how you feel about career stuff. Some people suck at this, you always come back to it. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is. Like, but career stuff, like career coaching, like career whatever, like, that is like, you're giving someone a tangible result, and like, that's what I'm saying. And it's like you're like, the branding can be around that, but like, to emphasize the tool that it's like astrology, usually I will like recommend against that. And whatever, it's just like, that is the thing, y'all. Like, I'm telling you. Anyway, so this is one of those things that it took me a long time to like come around to myself about it and be like to give myself permission to actually say what I see there. Like, with COVID, it was one of those things that like I was like a little stunned at almost how like specific the manifestation was, like how specific, like, because what I said in December 2019 was that we were going to see, when Saturn moved into Aquarius, we were going to see a shift in what we're working on, and that what would come into focus is the health and wellness of the individual for the sake of the collective good, and that we would see a surge in work at home opportunity. And that was like one of those things that I was like, oh my, like when it happened, March of 2020, like we went into lockdown the same week that Saturn moved into Aquarius. And like I said that, I was like, oh my God, like that's really weird, right? And then like I kind of got away from it for a little bit, just like partly because I freaked myself out. And then yeah, not only is that the next year, right? So this would have been no, not even 2021, right? This would have been the 2022 party, right? So yeah, like for 2022. So at the end of 2021, I was doing another one of these parties, and I mentioned that it was going to, no, I don't even remember, like I said that I got more specific about it that time because I was feeling a little more confident after like watching what the fuck happened with COVID. And I said that we were going to see a lot of people like gambling their like life savings last year, like that people were going to feel like lucky and like, oh, this is my opportunity, and that they were going to put their money into crypto and NFTs, and that it was all going to like crash. And I said it was going to happen, like we were going to see some event there happen in May. And then we all like, our jaws were on the fucking floor when that happened in May, like, right? And so like the more that I like predict these things happening, like the more freaked out I get. Like I'm not really like on TikTok anymore, but I have this really old TikTok from 2020. I'm just like lounging on my couch and I'm talking about Saturn, and I mentioned that we're gonna see a surge in mainstream popularity for psychedelics, right? That psychedelic research, and that we're probably going to see it like come into, you know, like the mainstream, like the people are going to be, you know, just the same way like in the 60s and 70s everybody was talking about just like dropping acid. Like that's going to be a thing again, and like over the next 3 years, like it'll be like kind of cemented. We're going to see a lot of people focusing on spiritual wellness, on emotional wellness, on creativity, and we're gonna see a fuckload of festivals and raves and things like that. Just like there's one every week. It's just gonna get like ubiquitous, and this is like a great time, especially because we're gonna be having like Pluto move into Aquarius at the same time. Like it's a great time to be finding your soul family, or like the activist groups, or like whatever, like the people that you want to not just be friends with, but the people that you want to like link up arms with. Okay, Saturn in Pisces, I've been looking forward to for quite some time, because like being, you know, like kind of in the spiritual community, and especially over the last like, you know, 8+ years, we're also going to see a lot of like documentaries, like the Teal Swan one, and there was this other one that was on Netflix recently. It was like about orgasmic manifestation, right? That was such a thing a few years ago. Oh my gosh, everybody was, oh, just like orgasm your way to being a billionaire. And it's like, that's like, please have orgasms if that's what you desire, but I don't think the two are connected. And maybe, I don't know, feeling good, obviously, but like, again, just to go back to what we talked about yesterday, it was like feeling good, being high vibe, like all that stuff, like means nothing, like when it comes to manifesting things. Like you don't, like, it's not required for you to feel good. It's required for you to, oh yeah, so I'll allow auto mod. It's okay. That's okay, mod. It's okay. Because you're right. What was I saying? Anyway, basically just like, that was right. Oh, right. That it's not a requirement for you to feel good in order for you to manifest what it is that you desire, because like people who are shitty and do shitty things, like they don't have to like feel good or be good or do good. Like that is what they are worthy of. They believe they're worthy of it, and so it's there. Like it's just like, is water wet? of course I'm rich, like, period. Like, that is what it is. It's not about reasoning or justifying it or like having a good reason for it or like having a, right? People, man, I could go on and on, but that's not even why we're here today. Anyway, I'm just really looking forward to seeing like the sliminess like come to light. Like, people just be like, no, we're not accepting this anymore. Like, you're not going to do this. So that I think is definitely like a very Saturn and Pisces thing that it's gonna be something we see a lot more of. But you know, I mentioned to a few people, and I don't know, Natalie, maybe you can like let me in on, like, remind me if I did or not, but I don't know if I said anything about Saturn in Aries or Saturn in Taurus. Right, the history of Saturn and Pisces, right? But yeah, I don't remember if I said anything in the party about these other eras. Okay, right, history of Saturn and Pisces. So the last time we had Saturn and Pisces was when like rave culture was really big in the 90s, right? So like 93 to 96. And then the time before that was when, right, psychedelics had their big like mainstream like moment from 64 to 67. But of course, things don't happen in a vacuum. Like, there are other things that were happening at the same time. And I really like to look at like where Jupiter and Pluto are at that same time, because it also tells you a little bit more about like the attitude of the moment, right? Like I think it was in the 90s. I have a note card about this somewhere, but I believe that it was in the 90s that, here we go. Okay, that's the 2025. This one is the 90s, and this one is the 60s. Okay, so in the 60s, when Saturn was in Pisces, Pluto was in Virgo, okay? And so was Uranus. And just like the feeling that I get from that is like, people started experimenting with things, and then it was like, oh, no, like, you know too much, like, you're like, this is giving you too much, like, right? Because it's like Virgo is on the other side of Pisces, so it's like opposing it. So with Pluto over there, it's like, that is not, like, we need to get serious, right? It's like, we're not going to do that. And so it's like more restrictive. And then in the 90s, obviously, right, Pluto was like finishing its time in Scorpio, and then we had Jupiter in Libra, like at the beginning of that transit. We had Chiron like move a few times, but like with Pluto in Scorpio, like obviously there was like this definite like resurgence, and we're like trying to like go deep again. But I think that with Pluto being in Scorpio, Saturn being in Pisces, right? So we've got like a trine relationship there. And it being the people who were in power at this time, because you also want to think about that as like, and this is what I was actually kind of referring to yesterday, right? Was it yesterday? When we were like bullshitting about the revolution, right? Because like the American Revolution, the French Revolution happened. I was just saying this last night, like, we're doing it right now. Like, it is a repeat, because like the American people are like a little bit, or not a little bit, like hopefully a lot of it, whatever, getting pissed off that like we're like facing a huge recession. People don't have money. People are getting laid off. Like, there's so much going on, and we're sending all this money to Ukraine. And like, we're being told like, oh, but it's for a good cause, right? Like, it's because we have to fight Russia, right? And like, literally, like, go back to 1780s France, when they were sending money to the Americans, right? And I like yelled at my TV. I'm like, where am I supposed to get the cake? Where would you like me to get it? Like, they're telling us to like, oh, just like eat cake. Like, you don't have bread? I'm like, oh, that's sad. Like, like, pull out, where are the guillotines? Like, am I fucking crazy? No, I'm not. Fucking astrology, man. Anyway, you want to think about the people who are in power at the same time, right? So it's like if when Saturn was in Pisces last time, Pluto was in Scorpio, the people who were in power, their Pluto was in Virgo, or their Pluto was in Leo, right? So it's like these people are like, I know everything. Like, I know what's right. Like, we're right. This is why these old people can't get the fuck out of office. They're like in their 80s. Like, oh my God, go enjoy all your money that you manipulated people out of. Nancy Pelosi, get the fuck out. You've had your moment. No, they're going to cling until they literally turn into dust because they think they're better than everybody. They think that they know everything. It's fine. Literally, when they all die, the Pluto and Scorpio generation will burn it the fuck down. And if we need to burn it down first, then that's just what happens, right? I don't even know if I'm allowed to, like, am I going to put this on YouTube? Like, I think they're going to pull my YouTube channel if I do this. This is why I don't talk about, like, I got to be, like, ooh, right? This is just for the Discord. The people who are in power now, right, or the people who will be in power through the Pluto and Aquarius, like, transit, there are more of us who get it, and I think that we're going to see more positive movement in the direction. I'm glad that you love it. I love it too. Listen, this is like, I told Natalie earlier, I'm like, I'm such a, like when people try to explain like global politics to me, like if I listen to it for too long, right, like I just like my eyes start to glaze over. Like I see people do, like when I get too like astro technical and I'm just like, I don't understand anything that you're saying. So I like it. It's like my brain makes sense of it, like through the lens of astrology. It's like I start to like notice the patterns and notice the like repeats, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I understand. What's happening isn't like something that's like so complex and new and different. Like literally, it's like a repeat of like 1790s France. Like, oh, okay. Where are the guillotines? Got it. That was how the problem was solved last time, right? So anyway, okay, so this is where we're going with this, right? What a fucking build up. I'm just gonna show you my screen. So I'm fucking around with like a lot of stuff here. This is what I'm talking about. So last night I was talking to my boyfriend and he was like mentioning, he's like, oh, have you seen this like memo or whatever? And I'm like, no. And he puts this on. This man is a fucking psychopath. Like it is genuinely disturbing people who like if you go like read this memo and like listen to some of the things, like if you like read some of the things that this person has said, this general or whatever, this General Minihan, this guy's a fucking psycho. Like if he wasn't in the military, he would be a serial killer. Like he's fucking crazy. Like he has said like my marriage is better when I'm killing the enemy. Like literally that's something he said. Like what? Like your marriage is better when you've murdered someone? Are you serious? First of all, you need therapy. Second of all, someone needs to save your wife. Blink twice if you need fucking help. Oh my God. This is what it said though. I hope I am wrong. My gut tells me we will fight in 2025. First of all, what the fuck? 2025. First of all, what a weird thing for I don't know. I just like the specificity of it freaked me out. Like it was really like I shot up in bed and turned to my boyfriend and said, didn't I tell you that we were going to have a war in 2025? Because Saturn enters Aries. Like you can see what's going to happen before it happens. Like you can see what's going to happen before it happens. I don't know, man. This is the kind of stuff, and this is what I was saying, is like it freaks me out. Like, this is why for a long time I was super hesitant to even like talk about astrology, or like talk about it this specifically, or like talk about it through the lens of like real events like this, because like what are we supposed to do with this? You know what I mean? Like, I know how to, like, I'm like genuinely, like, for the people who are here right now, like, or if you're watching this replay, if it's actually made its way to YouTube and I have not gotten it like pulled off of the internet, like, what are we supposed to do? Like, what do we do with this information? Like, if we know, or if we think that there is even a chance of fucking showers, if we think that there is potential for like a major war in 2025, just astrologically, and then you see shit like this from like literally like the person who like is in charge of an entire branch of the military. Oh, I'm opening soon. That's not what I wanted to do. Like, what are we supposed to do with that information? You know, like, I have no control over that. Like, you know, I tend to focus astrologically more, right? Like, on personal reflections, like, and maybe that's, oh shit, y'all. Are we getting very real? Am I going to have a revelation in front of you about myself? This is how just to be honest with you, this is what happens all the time. I'm constantly observing myself. I'm observing my behavior. I'm observing my patterns, and I'm asking myself like why I'm doing things the way that I'm doing them. Stock up on rice and beans. I mean, honestly. Well, and then just to add like insult to injury, because then we have Saturn in Taurus. And I mean, I said I didn't want to even talk about, you know, what I think might happen when Saturn is in Taurus, but like, if we're going to talk about it, and let's just, like, with Pluto in Aquarius, I believe that the focus of Pluto in Aquarius is going to be about like, not just technological innovation, but like energy innovation, like clean energy. And the thing about Pluto is that we don't fix anything until the problem is so big that we can't ignore it anymore, and it's so uncomfortable that like people take action. And that's just psychology. It's bullshit. That's sales, whatever. But if that is right, if that's what's coming, right, if I don't know, I worry about famine when we have Saturn enter Taurus. I worry about famine, and I worry about water a lot. I worry about like climate refugees in that time frame, right? So this is like 2028 to 2030. And if you look at like all of the projections for climate change and for like us needing to get our fucking shit together before it's too late, it is literally all within those time frames. And so this is not right. I don't like, I try and, but to go back to this like revelation I'm having, like I try to always give you astrology. Like I try to read astrology through as individual of a lens as I can, so that I can give you like personal, like it's an empowerment tool. Like how can I empower you to be more confident in your life, and to like move with more intention, and to move from a place of self-alignment, right? And I wonder if that's like me being in my like 4th house south node again, like me really trying to like make everything individual, because it's something that you can control, something that I can control, something that we can measure and see, versus like tackling something that's bigger. Like if we can see something that's bigger like this, because the obvious solution, right? I mean, obvious, okay, like me and my fucking obvious, my daughter does that. Is that where she gets that? Obviously. So the solution, you know, or the things that come to mind for me are like, if there is a potential for war in 2025, and then it's like confirmed through fucking like military like people, we're about to enter Saturn in Pisces. Like, go to the festival, like go to the thing, like live your life right now, like to the fullest. Like this is a time for like truly like take your psychedelics, talk to God, like have your moment, like find your people, find your communities, Because we're going to need that. We're going to need the connection. We're going to need the connection to our intuition, to our higher self, to our acceptance of our mortality to a degree, and our connection to one another, right? You're going to want to have those communities. And then on top of that, right, if there's a potential for like famine or drought or whatever, it would be like, I don't know, like we need to get like geographers and fucking like geologists and people. I don't know, it's almost like a Noah's Ark situation to me, right? And not necessarily, but like it's more intelligent than that, but it's like where, like, okay, I live in Florida, right? I live in Tampa, Florida. So it's like, I don't know, I'm maybe at like 10 feet above sea level. Like, this is not a good place to be. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if we're like really worrying about like climate change or things like that, it's like, I'm probably gonna wanna like, I don't know, take my group of people talk about this shit all the time. Like, I literally did this. Like, I was part of like this 12 years ago, 10 years ago in Hawaii, but like, get a group of your friends, go up a mountain and start building, right? Like start, oh my gosh, I'm like starting a cult, aren't I? No, it's not that. It's just like, I want, like, self-sustainability is going to be really important, but it's not just about the self. Again, hello, like we just have gotten the preview of this with Saturn in Aquarius. If Pluto is going to be in Aquarius too, it's like, this is about like, yes, you have got to take care of yourself. You as an individual are as important as anyone else, as everyone else. No better time. You are just as important as anyone, everyone. We all have as much of a right to be here and take up space and breathe air and speak our truth as anyone else, whether you like what they have to say or not, right? We all have the right to do so. Like, that is my personal belief, okay? If we all have a right to be here, if we all have something to contribute, okay, then it's important for us to take care of ourselves. But then that's also like, how does that fit into the bigger picture? Like, we cannot just think about ourselves anymore. Like, we cannot just sit in our fucking house and pretend like none of this is happening around us, you know? Like, there's only so much, you know, cognitive dissonance that we can actually participate in before we have to like get fucking real, you know? And I know this is like a weird way of saying this, but I think the next 3 years are like going to be a really good like opportunity to like go deep and take care of any of that like any thoughts or feelings that you might have about like mortality or like what's important to you, and like just really making the most of this time. Like, don't spend time with people who drain your energy. Don't spend time with people, don't give them your energy. Ask yourself why they might be taking up energy, especially mental energy, if you're not even around them, okay? And then intentionally like do things, like get out of your house, get out of your comfort zone, get out of your spaces to like be with people, be in places that inspire you, that make you feel like you are having a religious experience. You know what I mean? Like, probably, I mean, it's not hard to make me cry, but like, I don't know, I'd say probably like 40% of the time when I'm leaving a yoga class, like I'm like drying my face or like, you know, like drying up like tears, or, you know, because I'm just like having this moment with myself and my body and like all the people in this room and like my teacher, and you know, it's just it's nice, right? Same thing. I'm like at a festival, I'm at a party, like probably at least I don't for as much makeup as I do, I usually will not put on mascara, or if I do, it's like just the very, very, very tips of my eyelashes, because I know that I'm gonna cry at some point, because like just that life is beautiful and I love people, you know. And then like I'm in my car this morning, I'm like, ugh, I fucking hate everyone. It's okay. It's okay to forget for a minute. Again, I feel very like like a kinship with George Carlin, because it's like, I hate people. I love people. I love individuals, but I hate groups of people. When they get together, they suck. Let's move together, grow our own lettuce. Can I tell you that was the first thing that I learned how to harvest correctly? Like when I lived on the eco farm or whatever. That's not what we called it. We called it the farm. Our family. Yeah, it was the first thing I learned how to harvest correctly, because like people want to just like, right, cut the whole fucking head of lettuce. It's like, what are you doing? If you gotta, I'll teach you how to cut some lettuce. You got your, it's got the thing in the ground. So it's like you got your leaf here, and you like, it's almost like you take like a box cutter, like a knife, right? And you like you would cut it like here, like this, cut it down so it's like smooth on the side, basically, almost. And then it won't bolt, right? Which is like when it stops growing. Like you can grow lettuce like very, like pretty tall, and it'll just like keep going, right? There you go. Sustainability from Fani. Just not in the way that you're used to. Came for the Astro chat, stayed for the farming tips. You know what? This is that like Gemini rising. I used to feel very insecure about knowing like a little bit about a lot of things. But that's just what it, yeah. I can teach you some farming tips. I can teach you some cannabis growing tips, some cannabis curing tips. I can teach you about looking for mushrooms. Looking for mushrooms in the forest. Yep. Sure can. Which ones are psychedelics and which ones are ones you want to put down. Oh man, the farm. Yeah, farm life. I could teach you how to hitchhike safely. I have a lot of great skills. I almost said I'm going to be a great mom. I am a great mom. I'm just excited for my daughter to get older, because like, yeah, I've got things to teach a kid. Yeah, so Saturn, right? Saturn, I just do believe that we should all like, if you want to know, and especially if you're someone who helps people, like, you'll notice that my business generally goes through, I go through evolutions constantly, just like Gemini rising, fucking 8th house stellium, like whatever. But there's also like intention behind this. Spoiler alert for like anybody who's in the disruptor's den, like there's a big change coming. But in the greatest way. I'm so excited about it. But it's because like, and I wrote this in the letter that I'm going to be sending, but it's like, when I started the disruptor's den, I started it during Saturn in Aquarius. It was about like being disruptive and changing things, right? And we've built what we've built, and now like I see like, okay, where the patterns and like where there might still be like some gaps, and a lot of that is very much focused in the like Saturn and Pisces kind of energy, about it being not necessarily like that the plan is bad, or that your motivation is wrong, or that like the strategy isn't good. It's that like, is it in alignment? Is it for you right now? Are there reasons that are hidden inside of you that you don't even know are there, that are keeping you from having what you want? And that's just like literally the Pisces energy of it all. It's below the surface. It's the unconscious mind. And like, not for nothing, but like I literally wrote the book on it. Like literally wrote the book on reprogramming your unconscious mind. And so I'm rewriting that this year for Saturn and Pisces, like re-release. And that is a big part of where we're going to be taking like the den, and why and it's changing names, but like why it's opening up a little bit more, because we have that, like, business stuff is not going anywhere. Like, we're gonna have to do, right? That's like part of it. I'm Mama Capricorn, okay? But we know, like, I could hand you the perfect plan. I've said it a million times. I could hand you the perfect plan, and if it's not the right mountain, or there's some reason that you think you can't execute it or you're not allowed to, then it doesn't even matter. And we're going to keep spinning our wheels and going nowhere, right? And so we have to do some of that reprogramming work. They go together, right? And I feel very strongly that, like, when we get to about Saturn in Aries, that it's going to be time for another evolution of some kind, and that it's going to be more about masculinity and action, and like, oh shit, actually okay, so before I saw this whole like war thing, right? Like, which was my initial, because it's the easy answer. Saturn in Aries, the easy answer is that there's going to be a war. Like, it is Aries, you know? But a more positive outlook, like what I would prefer to be the interpretation of Saturn in Aries, would be like a revolution for men. And I know that sounds stupid, but like, hear me out. Like, a revolution for like redefining what it means to be masculine. Like, I just think that there's so much like pain and emotional like suppression that to this day like is still present, and hugely so. Like, let's not be like, you know, like pretend like we don't see that like mass shootings are men. Like, they're men. They're always men, right? Men are angry. Why are they so angry? It's because they have so much pain inside of them. Like, it's not a fucking, like, it's not rocket science. This is not like a, you know, a difficult like equation to figure out, you know? And so my preference in Saturn and Aries would be is that society as a whole would really focus on the healing of the masculine, because that's just, it's not like, okay, women's empowerment, great, but like, we're never going to be able to like have any kind of coming together or healing until to me it's the same as like, okay, we're going to send you to you know, detox for a week and then like put you back out into the world, right? Not like rehab or like mental help or like therapy or like getting into the reasons that you were like using these substances in the first place. Like, that's irrelevant. Like, doesn't matter. Just clean up, right? Change your lifestyle. No, that's not it. Change your lifestyle. Okay, great. Like, you're gonna replace one thing with another until you deal with what's really going on. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening with men. Like, it's not like just, hey, like, everything that you're doing is wrong, like, fucking fix yourself. Like, that's not enough. Like, there has to be more done there in order for there to be like true healing that occurs, and then for us to all experience the fucking like benefits of healing that, you know? So this is like, that's what I would prefer. And I mean, it could be like, listen, Pluto in Aquarius is like the sign of like feminism and innovation and progressivism. It is the sign of collectivism and like moving forward together, you know? With that being where Pluto is going, I don't know. And maybe because it's a long transit, let's actually look at something else really quick, because I want to see something. All right, so no. Okay, I was wondering if we were going to have it come back around, like if Saturn moves fast enough for Pluto. But no, by this time Pluto will be in Pisces. You know, that would have, like, you know, I'll be like 60 something, like, hopefully, like, I'm still alive and kicking it, but like, I I think things are going to be awesome at this time. Like really good. So like super good news for our kids, you know? Yeah, this just seems like to have Saturn in Pisces, to have Pluto in Pisces, it just seems like a world awakening. It just seems like everybody, like someone's put LSD in the water. We were all just like kumbaya and having a good fucking time. That's what that sounds like to me. But we have to get there when we get there, you know? I think that it would be great if during Saturn in Pisces, if we all have this like emotional and spiritual like awakening, spiritual growth, and we can then spend Saturn in Aries like helping the masculine to heal, and us like, you know, having this like come together moment, because then Saturn in Taurus could be about like planting again, and it could be about like us all coming back to, yeah, like more of a communal society, but like intentionally and like by choice. Not because we've been like forced into like small communities and, you know, whatever, because of like nuclear war or like fucking famine or something that would like, I don't know, right? So I'm gonna keep being here talking about this, and I don't know, it's like y'all can chime in because I appreciate your perspectives like very much. I don't know how much time and energy I should spend on this in general, right? In general, and in like my conversations with y'all, like in my like, you know, community building efforts, because I've said this for a long time, that I am not a doom and gloom astrologer. Like I am not the person who's going to be like, when I look at your chart, you know, like you're doomed for this or you're whatever for that, and like to give you like just very quick, you know, reflection of what I mean with my own chart, for example. And let's look at it in Placidus just for the sake of like argument, okay? Because in Placidus, my Capricorn Saturn is in the 7th house. And so like there are some astrologers that if I went to them, they would say, oh, you're never going to get married. Like marriage isn't in the cards for you. Because I have a 7th house Saturn. So, and because it's in Capricorn, like I'm too masculine. And also like, Aries Mars. Yeah, I am very masculine. Like I am. I've made jokes for a long time that I think that I'm like a better like father than mother. LOL, that Chiron. Just like make a joke out of it. No worries. Like laughing at my own pain. Sad clown. That's not the way that I see things. That is not how I read your chart from my perspective. Okay. And just to give you like, hey, how does Fani see things? Right. This is more like spiritual, philosophical, so like take it or leave it. But like, I believe that everything, just as I've mentioned, you're here on purpose. You're here on purpose. Everything is here on purpose. Everything has a purpose, like in nature, okay? And we know that, right? We, you know, scientists and whatever, like study ecosystems, and like everything has a purpose in nature. When something is removed from an ecosystem, like things are not great, like things crumble, things, which by the way, like save the sharks, just save the sharks. If we don't, we're all gonna die. Just, okay, you can go research it on your own time. That's another thing I know too much about, or know, right? Know a little bit about a lot of things. I know a little bit about how we're all gonna die if we fucking keep killing the sharks. So like, please stop it, okay? I know that you're out there personally killing sharks, so I'm looking at you. I'm totally kidding. Anyway, so if everything has a purpose, if everything has a purpose in nature, if everything is here, and when removed from the ecosystem, it is missed in some way, shape, or form, what are the stars there for? Like, why are the stars there? Why is everything there? I believe that if whatever your version of a creator is, right? God, the universe, right? Source, infinite being, whatever. If God had a language, it's probably not going to be Arabic, probably not going to be English, probably not going to be fucking Greek or whatever. To me, the stars are the language of God. Like, that is God's native tongue, like trying to communicate things to us, trying to show us patterns, and hopefully we can get the fucking message at some point and like learn from ourselves, okay? So when I look at your chart, or when I look at things, I try, like, that is like the lens through which, and I know that sounds like really weird, but it's like, I look at it through the perspective of like, what's the most positive outcome here? Or like, what is the highest version of what I see here? Like, what is the maximum potential that we have here, right, for good? And maybe that's like my, right, I got that like 12th house Jupiter, you know, it's just like it's an innate understanding of what has value, like what is valuable, what has, and everything I believe has value. Like it's just about like shifting your perspective. Like cockroaches have value, allegedly. I don't, and I accept that, even though, like, get it away from me, you know what I mean? Everything has value, just maybe not to you, and that's subjective because you're not God. But that's the way that I see, right? When I'm trying to look at the transits, when I'm trying to look at anything, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, it's going to be a terrible, actually, there's 1 week, I think, in like the whole like 2023 like Astro calendar that I legitimately say, like, maybe just like take this week off. I know I said that in Natalie's like personal transits that I sent to her for February, but it's like there are some times that I usually am not going to tell you like, oh, like everything's going to be terrible and here's why, you know what I mean? Like, why am I going to do that to you? Like, that just doesn't sound like, I don't know, it doesn't sound loving and it doesn't sound helpful. What sounds helpful is to say it in the positive, right? So it's like, and actually maybe that's like an NLP thing that I'm just like intuitively, you know, doing or whatever. But it's like, I'm not going to tell you like, try not to argue with people, because what are you going to do? You're going to be on the defensive. You're going to expect arguments, and you're going to end up in an argument because you heard me, because you listened, okay? But if I tell you, be mindful in your communications, have an open heart, try to be compassionate, what are you going to do? Right? It's just, I'm going to tell you, right, to have the experience that, you know, you want, that we want to have, right? Because I'm going to assume, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that you don't want to have a bad time, right? No? Right? Don't want to have a bad time. Don't want drama. Don't want to be arguing with people. Don't want like bullshit. Cool. So I'm not going to like instruct you around doing that, right? Around how to do that, around having that. Okay. So with that said, it can sometimes be like a kind of mind fuck for me to be like, do I tell them about things like this? Like, do I tell them about things like that? Because is it helpful? Like, or do I just chew it up and translate it to my baby birds? Sort of gross analogy, or like, like after you leave these live streams, or like after you listen to my, to the replay on YouTube or wherever you are right now, I want you to feel empowered. I want you to feel good. I want you to walk away from this feeling like you have a better sense of like understanding of what's going on for yourself and your day, and like that you've maybe had a chance to laugh, or like, learn something new, or have a perspective shift that's going to make your day better. I don't know how much this helps, or like, I don't know how much this is something that you want to hear about or how regularly. So feel free to like chime in and let me know, or like pop on over to Discord and let me know. because this is the stuff I think about all day long. I mean, again, I have notes about this because I'll just sit around and take notes about things sometimes. Like I've got, right, like all these weird, like Saturn notes about like different times it's been in different places. And I have all these other ones here that are like Pluto and, right, I was talking yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before, about Pluto's, right, because that's one of the reasons that I'm so sure that it's going to be about like clean energy and especially clean transportation. Like that's going to be the big one, because Pluto's going to be in an air sign, right? So it's like Pluto in Gemini, we had the transcontinental telegraph, we had the commercial telephone, we had the discovery of radio waves, we had film, right? Like moving picture. And then when Pluto went into Libra this last time, we got the internet, right? So the whole thing about Pluto in air signs, you know, air signs are about communication, and communication also deals with like communication of like goods and transport, right? So that's why when we talk about like Mercury retrograde, Mercury, right, the symbol of communication, which is home in the sign of Gemini, or one of its homes, right, is in Gemini. We talk about like the structure and the contracts and the you know, that kind of stuff. But in Gemini, it's the person to person, right, communication, and like car accidents and stuff. People tell you like, oh, there's so many car accidents, Mercury retrograde. It's because the third house is the house of like what's around you. Like it's like short trips, right? So not like a road trip, not like, that's why people will be like, oh, should I fly? Like flying has nothing to do with Mercury retrograde. Like that's not it. But if we bring Aquarius into the mix, right, Pluto in Aquarius, like I do believe that that's where we're going to have more of that, because it's about the communication of information, the communication of like stuff. I know it's like a really weird, like, this is where like I just start laughing at myself, because it's like I'll just like start daydreaming about like what I think is going to happen. And I'm like, oh, maybe we'll like figure out teleportation. Like, wouldn't that be dope? Like, I definitely do think that there's going to be like space travel involved. Like, again, right? Like all the projections for like not just like rich ass people flying in spacecraft, but like space cruises and like things like that. Like all within the Pluto and Aquarius generation, right? All within that transit. We'll see what happens. So, you know what we didn't do today, though, is we didn't go look at the transits for now. So let's do that really quick. Let's just see what's happening, what's going on today. Okay. And obviously the times are relative to the East Coast of the United States. So if you're not on the East Coast, then you can feel free to like adjust that accordingly. But same stuff that we've been, you know, going on for a couple of days with the Sun sextile Chiron. And actually, I talked about this, right? I've got the February horoscope, and I broke it down week by week on my podcast from yesterday. So if you want to listen to that, you can do that today. It's a quick one. It's like 12 or 13 minutes long. So we've had the Sun sextiling Chiron, and we got like, someone was in Discord yesterday asking about like, what is going on? Because like, I am just so anxious and feeling really touchy. And like, I mean, there were more like transit reasons that she would have been experiencing that too. More like personal transit reasons, right? Like different conjunctions and like trines and stuff that she had going on. But we all are experiencing the Sun sextile Chiron, which is sort of like bringing our insecurities to the light a little bit, but like in a good way, right? It's like just the same way that I've been talking about, like you got to be able to see your blocks. You got to be able to see how you're standing in your own way for you to like get the fuck over yourself, right? That's basically what Sun sextile Chiron is all about. So it might feel a little uncomfortable, but just like, it's a moment, breathe through it. It's for the greater good, right? We also have moon in Cancer. We were talking about this in Discord too. When the moon is in water signs, I don't want to do anything. And I just want everybody to get away from me. And funny story is that those water signs, right? If we look at my whole sign chart, it's going to be all of the houses that deal mostly with business, right? Because it's the second house, the sixth house, and the 10th house for me, right, are the water signs. And more specifically, it's when the moon is in Pisces that I'm everybody, please leave me alone. I don't want anything. Please, everybody go away. And that's my 10th house, right? And it's just I'm sleepy. I don't know. And it's not even just sleepy, but I'm very touchy. I'm very emotional. I don't feel very good about myself. And it's just the way that it is. And I feel I got this question yesterday, and I will address this, right, to them in Discord later. But someone was I've noticed that on these days I'm not feeling good, or I feel down, or I just can't get going. And how do I fix that, or how do I optimize those days? And my answer is don't. Your body is telling you something for a reason. There's nothing wrong with you. Take the hint, go to bed. Close your laptop, do the work, right? This is why, I don't have it open right now. If you're in my mastermind, or if you have access to my my planner, there's a tracking tool in it, and I have this how much energy did you have today, and how much energy did you have for people today? Because when you do that enough over time, you'll be able to see these patterns, and you'll be able to plan accordingly. Right? So if you know that you have shit energy when the moon is in water signs, then you're going to go ahead and schedule those days off. You're going to block them off in your calendar. If you know that you are living when the moon is in earth signs or whatever, then you're going to make those days very specifically work days, where you block out anything else and you tell people, no, I'm not available for brunch or whatever. You schedule your yoga early in the morning, and you block out the day to get shit done. And you do, you're batching that day, or you have you knock out 4 or 5 client calls that day, or whatever. So that is my version of optimizing it. Don't try to fix the days when you're tired. Take the hint, okay? Replenish, rest. Nothing in nature has the same energy and the same every single day. Things exist in seasons, okay? And so do you. All right, well, today was a really nice day, even though we were talking about some kind of depressing shit. Thank you so much, all of y'all, for being here. My heart is so full today. And I will be back tomorrow for one more day this week, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going on over the weekend tomorrow. So I'll see you then. And if you're not in my Discord yet, why not? Feel free to do that. If you're on Twitch, it's somewhere on my profile page or whatever, so you can just find it. And if you're on YouTube, then it's gonna be right below here in the description. So I'll see you in Discord, and I'll see y'all in Discord, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day, friends.